What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look at Social Security, and we're going to take a look at some polls. So how do the American people feel about Social Security? So I want to focus on this because this is an important thing for most people. Most people, when they start thinking about retirement, they're going to think about drawing on Social Security. And most people will need that. It's very, very crucial because a 401k, if you have a 401k, even if you're maxing out your 401k, you're probably still going to want to draw from Social Security because you want that 401k to last as long as possible. You want it to outlive you. And it's unfortunate that we have the system set up now. We have 401ks, and I've talked about this plenty of times before, but the old system back in the 80s where you had a lot of people that were receiving pensions, that was much better in my opinion because you receive a pension for the rest of your life. 401k, there's no guarantee. We can have bad economy, we can have bad years, and you have a 401k, and that money goes really fast. I just showed a video last week where this couple had to go back to work. The husband was 77, the wife was 66. They had to go back to work part-time because they couldn't afford to survive. They couldn't live. And part of the reason they couldn't survive is because their 401k was gone. They spent all of their 401k money. And so this is a real big deal when it comes to Social Security. And so I want to talk a little bit about this. I want to show you some of these different polls. We're going to talk about the polls. And the most important part about this is I want to get your input. So you guys let me know what you think down below. I'm going to start running some polls. I have post some polls every once in a while just to see how you guys feel about some of these different topics. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. If you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the latest polling. So this is a Gallup poll, and this was conducted between March and April of 2025. It says widespread worry about stability, and it's talking about Social Security. So 52% of the American people, the people that were polled in this Gallup poll, worry a great deal about Social Security. And 53% fear cuts to their own benefits and then support raising Social Security taxes. You have 61% of the people who were polled said, we think it's a good idea to raise taxes. Okay, so we're talking about FICA tax. I'm not sure if how detailed the question was. Are they saying just the FICA tax overall, so that payroll contribution, raise that for everyone who's currently working, or just raise that on people who are making $400,000 or more? Okay, so I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where they got those numbers from, but 61% is still a pretty big amount. And then we have favor benefit cuts, 31%. So you still have people out there that they might not be receiving Social Security right now. They might be younger and thinking, you know what, I'm not going to have Social Security when I get to that age, which is not true. That's a big myth, but they still might think that. And now they're saying, we have 31% of the people saying we favor cuts to Social Security. So I would imagine it's not the people who are receiving Social Security, because that would not make sense if you're receiving Social Security and then you also think that we should cut Social Security. If there are any of you guys out there, let me know in the comments below if you're currently receiving Social Security benefits and you think that we should cut Social Security. Okay, so let's look at some more polling here. And we have this public opinion Social Security changes. It says, worried about Social Security running out. We have 72%. Now, I've talked about this over and over and over again. Social Security will not go bankrupt. As long as we have people in the workforce contributing to FICA, we will still have Social Security. The issue right now are the trust funds. The trust funds are slowly being depleted. We have about $2.6 trillion in the trust funds. We have money that's coming from FICA, so that contribution, the people who are working and their employers are contributing money that goes to help pay out benefits, but it's not enough to pay out benefits at 100%. And so they're slowly pulling from that trust fund to $2.6 trillion. Eventually, that's going to run out. They say it'll probably be about 8 years. And at that point, then we'll see a cut across the board of about 23%. However, it will be a cut. It doesn't mean that you're not going to receive Social Security benefits anymore. You'll still receive Social Security benefits. But we've allowed politicians to get out there and get everybody riled up and fearful that Social Security is going bankrupt. And that's 72% of people are looking at it. 72% of the people that were polled here, they think that Social Security is not going to be there. Okay, believe the program needs changes, 79%. Okay, and I think that's good, and I think that's right because it does need changes. You need to make changes in Social Security. You need to reform Social Security because, as I stated, that 8 years, in 8 years, when the trust funds, if we get to that point where the trust funds are depleted, then we're looking at a cut across the board for everyone. Congress can reform Social Security, provide more revenue to the program, and extend it out for another 50 years. They can do that. That's what they did back in 1983. So they can do it again, but they're going to have to make some tough decisions. And we don't have Congress people right now that want to make tough decisions, it looks like. Okay. Support payroll tax increase. Okay, that's 63% there. And then support taxing high incomes. That is 68%. Now, these two things, they would bring in more revenue, and that's what needs to happen. You need to bring in more revenue. You're going to have politicians out there saying, oh, we'll just raise the full retirement age up 3 years. We'll raise it up from 67 to 70. That is not going to reform Social Security. We're still going to be looking at issues when it comes to the trust funds being depleted. It might not be 8 years, it might be 10 years or 12 years, but they will still be depleted. And so we need to bring in more revenue. And some politicians aren't comfortable talking about raising taxes, especially if it's raising taxes on wealthy people. Okay, so let's see. Supporting raising retirement age, 51%. Okay, and this is what's crazy to me. Especially if you are a person who, let's say you're in your 40s right now, in your 50s, you really are okay with raising the full retirement age. That means you're going to have to work longer because most people, when you get to that age where you want to retire, you're probably going to draw on Social Security, and you don't want to draw on it at a reduced rate because right now, let's say you're 62 and you want Social Security benefits. Yeah, you can get them, but guess what? You're going to get a 30% cut to your benefits just because you took it early. Now, if they raise that full retirement age up to 70, those people that could have retired at 67, now they need to either wait until they're 70 or they could take it at 67, but they're going to take it at a reduced rate. When right now, if you don't do anything, if you don't raise that full retirement age, then at 67, you'll be able to take it and you'll be able to get your full benefits. So I don't know. I don't know who was polled here. But I would imagine those people, they need to know the facts. They need to know what's going on because this is going to impact them if they haven't already retired. Okay, supports cuts to future benefits, 40%. So you have 40% here. Again, people that are okay with cutting benefits. Okay, let's look at some more of the polling here. And I didn't mention where these polls were coming from. So this is Market Watch NIRS poll. And then this one is also a Market Watch NIRS poll. These were conducted April 2025. Now, looking at this confidence in future benefits among older adults. Okay, so this is really interesting. I want you guys to focus on this. Look, all adults 60 plus, 30% of the people say that they're confident. So basically, they're saying they're confident that Social Security will be there and it'll be there for them. Okay. Older Democrats, 50%. Older Republicans, 60%. So older Republicans right now are more confident that Social Security will be there for them than Democrats. Now, there's a reason for that. Okay, let's move down here. I want to show you this. So when we break it down when it comes to party affiliation, you see here confidence levels for older Republicans. In 2023, 25%. It was 25% of Republicans, older Republicans, that were confident that Social Security would be there for them. 25%. It jumped up to 60%. That's the current number. And then look what happened with Democrats. So Democrats back in 2023, confidence level 10%. 2024, confidence level now 50%. Okay, so and I mean, even Democrats, this 10% is crazy to me. So people weren't very confident back in 2023 when it comes to Social Security, and now it's moved up to 50% for Democrats. So interesting numbers there. And actually, this says 2024, so I would imagine it hasn't changed. Yeah, I think when I read this, it didn't change. So it's been in 2024, it was 50%, and then in 2025, it was also 50%. So just some interesting numbers here. I mean, when we're looking at these different polls, I'm always amazed. And that's why I like to show these to you, because some of this stuff, some of it doesn't make sense. And we have to understand, okay, they're taking a sample of the American people. So it's not all Americans that feel this way. It's the sample that they're taking. And we know that polls can be skewed. You can talk to certain people and your polling will look one way, and then you talk to different people and your polling is going to look another way. So you can do a poll one week, it's showing one thing, and then do it another week and it's showing something entirely different. And so this is just a snapshot of what's going on right now, okay, or at the time when they did that poll. So interesting information, very, very interesting. I want to know what you guys think about all of this. And I think I want to do more of these polls that focus on these different categories: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and some other things that are going on in this country and all over the world. I want to look at some of these different polls, and then I want to get your input on how you feel about these things. And then I'm going to put some polls up just to see how you guys handle those polls. And I want to see if the polling that we do is similar to the polling that we see on these different pollsters. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.